Well, hey there YouTube, this is my first production using a proper camera here. This is a DSLR Canon EOS T3 Rebel that I purchased back in 2012. I tried shooting video on it in the past, but came to a problem where it would automatically stop recording after like 5 seconds of video. And after doing a little bit of research on the matter, found out that it was because the memory card in the camera did not support the write speed required for recording videos. Perfectly fine for pictures, but couldn't do video. So I went out and bought a much larger and fast write speed card, which is high definition capable. And yeah, I mean, it was fascinating. That was my first time buying a memory card, probably since 2012, and just the degree to which prices have plummeted on memory cards and capacity has gone through the roof is really astonishing. I paid like $35 for this 170 megabyte per second write speed memory card, and it's 168 gigabyte or something like that. It's mind-blowing, really. But anyway, I wanted to do an update on the skillets. Yeah, so without further ado, here is a skillet after cooking steak on Friday night. And then when I was done cooking the steak, I also threw in mushrooms, potatoes that I diced up, and a shallot. It cleaned up really easily, but then I noticed that, unfortunately, you can see how the seasoning is peeling off. See if I can zoom in here. Yeah. So that's a problem. Now, when seasoning peels off of a cast iron skillet, it's flaxseed oil. When seasoning peels off of a Teflon skillet, it's Teflon. I'd rather eat flaxseed oil. So, all in all, I cooked the steak and the veggies, and then last night I used it again, and I cooked, I had it in my smoker grill up on the top rack, and I was cooking mushrooms, potatoes, and another shallot while I had a steak on the grill itself. The meal was freaking delicious, but yeah, the seasoning's coming off. And then here's the original iron skillet that I refinished back in January, and the seasoning is holding up quite well. I think a lot of that is attributed to how I finished it or prepared the surface prior to seasoning it. With the smaller skillet, I used sandpaper, hand sanded. That was 320 grit, and with the larger skillet here, the 3-notch Lodge, I used that really coarse Scotch-Brite pad kind of thing. And I think at the end of the day, the Scotch-Brite pad left too fine of a finish. Didn't leave enough scratches within the surface to allow a seasoning and oil to adhere and to bake on. So there's less surface area, and so ultimately the flaking takes over and your seasoning goes bye-bye. I did have small areas on this one where the seasoning came off, but to a much lesser extent, and I've been using this thing for 9 months now, and there's no bare metal, so it's coming along really well. I'm really happy with how that one turned out. So ultimately what it boils down to is I'm going to take this guy and hand sand it down. I'm not going to use the angle grinder part for it. I mean, the angle grinder was phenomenal for preparing the surface initially and getting all that crap off, the old seasoning, etc. And for removing a lot of the pits. It would have taken an absolute eternity to hand sand that out. I tried hand sanding it, and yeah, the angle grinder was definitely the way to go. But now that I got the surface down to an area where I don't have much pitting, and where I'm really happy with how smooth the whole area is, like especially in the corners here. This was really rough where it transitioned from the bottom to the walls. That was rough all the way around, and stuff would obviously stick there, having a very rough surface. So the angle grinder and Scotch-Brite thing worked an absolute miracle on that. It's absolutely perfect. But now I gotta just get down and gritty with it, and I think I'm gonna start with an 80 grit sandpaper, and then work my way up to. I'm probably gonna stop at 180 or 220 grit, and then reseason it from there. And so I'll get back to you when I get to that point. All right, thanks for watching.